Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by the streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaves do not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Right, this is Psalms 1, the very first of 150 Psalms that was written in the Old Testament. We don't know exactly who wrote this one, but doesn't that speak so prevalent into kind of what we walk into every single day? Last week we talked about what it means to be a tree or a plant that is rooted in the house of the Lord. What it means to absorb, what it means to be anchored, what it means to spread our roots. And in this passage here is bringing up an idea of what it means to be people that are living with God, that are producing fruit and that don't wither. How is that possible for us? How is that possible for you and me to live that life? Right? There's like obviously there's a comparison here of two types of people. Like the first one that talks about in verse 1 and 2 is the kind of person that is wicked. Wicked meaning they're living a life that is contrary or opposite of the life that God wants us to live. Whether that's the decision of saying, hey, I'm going to go and party tonight instead of spending time with God. Or I'm going to let this person control my emotions or my actions or whatever it is that you're putting God above rather than saying, God, you're my source of everything and you're my number one, right? It starts corrupting our minds and our hearts. And that idea is throughout the whole Bible. We see that with pretty much every person in the Bible. There's not one person that didn't live that life except Jesus Christ. And so he says he doesn't want us to be like that wicked person. He wants us to be the opposite, which is a righteous person. Righteous meaning a person that is living by the law of God, a person that is living and seeking God's face, and he's seeking to live a life that is equivalent to his standard. And I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's you too, but when I read through this, like my natural response is I don't want to be like that wicked person. I don't want to be a person that is living a life opposite of God, because I've seen God's goodness in so many different ways in my life. I see his mercies. I see how they're new every day. I see God's love. I see his grace. I see his justice, and I see the blessings of being with God every day. So obviously I don't want to live a life that's opposite of him, but it's so easy for us to take actions that aren't lining up where God wants us to be. And so we go to verse 2. And I think this is a key to what it means to really be planted, right? To stay planted, to do those things we talked about last week. And if you're not in that place, this is the way to get back to it. And the key is how to delight in the Lord. Maybe it's that simple. Like it says there, verse 2, be like the person who delights in the law of the Lord. What delight is, and when it comes to mind, when I think of that, I think of you genuinely wanting to spend time with someone. Like if it's a relationship, you just want to delight in them. It's like, hey, this relationship brings me joy, and this relationship brings me, kind of that warm, fuzzy feeling inside, right? I want to be with this person because they love me and I love them, and they know me and they see me, which is the deepest desire of humans at the core. Like we all seek to be fully seen, to be fully loved, and to be fully known. And so when we put that in perspective about God, God does all that. The Bible talks about how he knew us before we were even born. That in Romans 8, that we are fully loved by God. That he sees us in all things. Like we know God sees us in that kind of way. And so guess why he wants us to delight in him. That's why he wants us to be with him and to spend time with him. But yet we don't. And I don't think any of us wake up one day and say, God, I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't want to delight in you. I don't want to spend time in your presence anymore. But it happens over time, over time, and over time. I love the quote that, there's two beasts living within my chest. One is foul, one is blessed. The one I love, the one I hate. But the one I feed will dominate. Right? It's the idea of, hey, what am I feeding every single day? How am I growing today? Am I being like this tree that the Bible describes us as, or this plant the Bible describes me as? Am I living that out every day, or am I living a way that is opposite of God and his will for my life? right? Because we're being honest again, I don't think a lot of us wake up and say, I want to live a life away from God and running away from Him and being disobedient. But it happens with some simple steps. And so when we go back to verse 1 here in the Psalms, there's like, it's almost like the action plan or the steps that it takes to walk away from God in a sense. And so in verse 1 it says, blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked. Right? The key thing there is walk. I think of someone first that maybe they haven't, thought to themselves about the goodness of God recently. They've kind of neglected that aspect of the faith. And so they live their normal life. And as they're walking, they're seeing their friends do things that they know doesn't lead to fruit, that they know leads to hurt and brokenness. And instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't do that thing, they think to themselves, oh, that kind of seems fun. I'm not going to do it yet, but I see them and I see the pleasure they're getting from it. And so I'm just walking by it. I'm not delighting in that, but I'm just seeing it. And we keep on reading, and it says, or that stand in the way that sinners take. To me, like, hey, now this is the next step. So one, you're walking around it. Like, you see what's going on. You see the temptations and the pleasures of this world. But now you're actually standing in it. Like, you're in the midst of it now. Instead of fleeing from sin, like the Bible talks about, or putting on the armor of God, now you're inviting it in. And it's no longer just a temptation. Now you're in the presence of it. But then the third one is that, or sit in the company of mockers. So now you have walked by it. You have stood in it. Like you're not saying no to it, but now you're sitting in it. Right? There's a process that happened here with us, and it's so easy for us to get there because again, it starts with the walking by and not guarding our hearts and saying, God, I want you to be the source of my satisfaction. I want you to be the source of my love. I want you to be the source of everything in my life. But there's the good news, right? I love to end with that. And again, we talk about, hey, because I want these videos to be encouraging to y'all. Like I want them to be used as a tool for your walk with Christ. But I also want them to challenge you, because maybe you're in that place right now. You have walked away from the goodness of God. You've walked away from the love of God. And you're wondering, God, why is this going on? And why is that going on? And God, why do I have no peace and patience anymore? It's because we've skipped out of being with Him. And we skipped out about being trees that are rooted where the water is, right? A tree doesn't just strive and struggle to try to produce fruit. It just does because of where it is, right? And that's what God wants us to do too. That's the kind of life He wants us to pursue, is lives that are with Him. You don't manufacture delight, right? We chase after Him, we follow after Him, and it will come. Like it is the fruit of being in that relationship with Christ. So get into the Word, right? Get back into the light. Make sure you're planted where God wants you to be, that you're taking the steps you need to be where you need to be. God wants us to be people that produce fruit in their season, whose leaves never wither, who whatever they do it prospers. Whether you're working at Chick-fil-A, or you're working a accounting job, or I mean whatever the thing is, right? Whatever we do prospers, not because of anything we're doing, it's because of where we're actually at and what we're actually abiding in. And that's again to the idea of the tree. So what I want y'all to do this week is go read this psalm. Let it be part of your morning prayer and your evening prayer about, God, check my heart. Like, God, may nothing come in between the love that you have for me. God, may I be like this tree that is planted by streams of water. May I produce fruit and my leaves not wither, right? And we're going to get into that in the weeks coming up. There's so many analogies and metaphors in the Bible about plants and trees, and there's a reason for that. Not only the idea about growth, but the idea of stillness, and how we're supposed to be like that in our busy lives. We're supposed to be still with the Lord, rooted with Him and in Him. So guys, as always, I pray that y'all are having a great week. I pray that this encourages y'all, and to Christ be the glory for all of it, right? May we be like this. And so Babe, if you know that person in your life right now that is struggling with it, struggling to build roots and to dig deep, send this video to them. Maybe an encouragement to them about what it means to be anchored and planted in the house of the Lord. I hope you have a great week. I will see y'all next one. We got to talk about the comparison, kind of talks about later in Psalms. And so, y'all have a great week. See y'all later.